Are you ready for the absolute bottom of the barrel of Pokemon theories when it comes to Legends Arceus? No, legitimately, my last few videos weren't that. I thought they were good theories. Hey, Pokemon Masters, Dakota Boo here, and yeah, okay, when Legends Arceus came out, I was taking note of absolutely everything. I've played the game like 3.5, 4 times at this point. I have taken notes of everything there is to take notes of in the game, and some things definitely I had some questions about, but I couldn't come up with full theory-sized answers. Like the fact that Wyrdeer and Arceus are weirdly alike in design. It's weird, it's weirder. White equine creatures with golden appendages, that's not a coincidence, but what's the theory there? In this video, I'm gonna cover 5 kind of Easter eggs, references, secrets, or theories that never quite formulated into full theories. So this is just really the last little things that I could find in Legends Arceus. However, if there's a theory that I haven't done or that you've not seen anyone talk about that you'd love them to talk about, please do let me know in the comments. I will be reading them. I love reading your comments. Also kind of a random one, but I just want to shout out my TikTok. I have TikTok and me and Phoebe are posting over there and the videos are doing great. Do come on over, check out my TikTok. I'll leave it linked in the description, but I'm Berkey Patobi on everything. Right, let's get into it. 5 kind of non-theories for Legends Arceus. Starting with exactly that, Wyrdeer and Arceus. What's going on here? We have 2 equine-like creatures, both of them white of body, both of them very tied and important to the story of Legends Arceus. Of course, Arceus is summonable at the end of the game by the Azure Flute, which was previously the Celestica Flute, which is the first Pokemon that you can contact using the Celestica Flute is this Wyrdeer. A white equine Pokemon with, instead of a golden ring around it, it's got golden antler-like horns. Both of these Pokemon are very tied to the story and the world of Legends Arceus, so what's the relationship there? I do have a theory, but I've got no evidence for it. And that is that we know that this is not Arceus. Arceus is a Pokemon that can split itself into multiple parts. The plates are all part of Arceus, but so too are Dialga and Palkia. You see this in their origin forms. Time and space came from Arceus, which according to Sinnoh Myth was known as the original one. So this form that Arceus takes is just that. It is a form that Arceus chooses to take, bound by its own restraint. A restraint that we see on Pokemon like Type Null, or that we see on like Dialga and Palkia when they're being controlled by the red chain. This restraint shows that this is not Arceus' final form, and I'm actually amazed that we didn't see its true form in this game. And that's all to say that Arceus chose this form. It chose to look this way and restrain itself this way. Why did it choose to look like this? My suspicion is that Arceus did not choose this form until it first made contact with people. And the first person that it made contact with is the ancient hero from 2,000 years ago who saved Hisui in the ancient past with his 10 noble Pokemon, the first one of which was his Wyrdeer. The little micro theory here is that simply Arceus chose this form because it looked sort of like the hero's Wyrdeer so that it would be more appealing to humans. But that's it, that's all I've got on it. Number 2, speaking of those Arceus plates, they appear in the future of Sinnoh, even in the Sinnoh Grand Underground. You can dig them up alongside shards. There's been a long debate as to what exactly shards are, but they seem to be possibly shards of Arceus plates, giving them their distinct colors and their ties to various elemental powers and their usages throughout the series. It's hard to really know, but what is interesting here is that the shards appear in Legends Arceus by way of the space-time distortions. Distortions that bring things from other times to the modern-day Hisui. Modern-day Hisui, or past Sinnoh, I guess. In fact, they are pretty much the only guaranteed item that absolutely shows up every time one of these rifts appears, implying that the breakage of time and space is also a rupture in bits of Arceus, I guess, shattering the plates into shards. It's an interesting thing, but it's not really a theory. It doesn't really turn into anything, other than the fact that the way that the shards are underground in the Grand Underground is likely in the past of the Sinnoh games. Back when Sinnoh was called Hisui, these shards ended up lying on the ground as a result of space-time distortions and eventually were trampled underground where they can now be dug up. But that is really the best I've got there. Again, this is real bottom of the barrel stuff. Number 3, let's talk about flutes, because flutes are everywhere in Pokemon now. You have the Poke Flute that awakens Pokemon, and you have the various flutes of the Hoenn region that help with various status condition. Those are kind of one kind of flute. But over the last few generations, we've seen the Azure Flute / Celestica Flute that can control Pokemon that you can ride. Kind of reminds me of the Eon Flute that allows you to soar on Mega Latias or Mega Latios, but also summoning of a legendary Pokemon. Isn't that the same as the Sun and Moon Flute that help evolve Cosmoem into Solgaleo and Lunala? What's with all the flutes? And don't forget Celebi's Time Flute from Pokemon Colosseum. So flutes are everywhere in the Pokemon world, used as a way of sort of communicating with particularly legendary Pokemon, which makes sense when we look at other media, like my other favorite franchise, The Legend of Zelda, using musical instruments, the Ocarina of Time, of the Wind Waker, to sort of commune with the gods, using the language of the breath, which is literally the life essence of yourself, to use that to communicate with the gods, not using like normal human language. It's nice, it's got a good symbolism about it, but what does it all mean for the world of Pokemon? I have no idea. And if you have any thoughts about this, I'd love to hear them in the comments, because maybe this could become a full theory one day. I even did a thumbnail, but there's just not a video here yet. Not on its own, at least. Similarly, number 4, let's talk about Miss Cogita and the Ancient Retreat. The Ancient Retreat, based on its location on the map, will one day become Celestic Town in the Sinnoh region. Celestic Town is sort of dug downwards and inwards, implying that perhaps the ruins that are in the center of Celestic Town are actually below the Ancient Retreat. In modern-day Celestic Town, you also see this shrine, which in a previous theory about enamorus, I made reference to the fact that it's the same as the Abundant Shrine from the Unova region. But there is another shrine that's kind of tied to, which is the Ilex Forest Shrine in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Now, I think, given that I managed to do a whole video about it, that the ties between the Shrine of Celestic Town, this being the Ancient Retreat where Miss Cogita is, her ties to enamorus, and the Abundant Shrine in the Unova region and its ties to the forces of nature, that there's a lot more synergy there. But that's not to say that there isn't synergy between the shrine that appears in Celestic Town, the Ancient Retreat, and the Ilex Forest Shrine. First of all, the Ilex Forest Shrine is to commemorate Celebi, and Celebi is a Pokemon that can time travel, which is a big part of the Legends Arceus story. But on top of that, we know because of the ancient verses, which Miss Cogita knows the ancient verses, that people came from Sinjoh to get to the Hisui region. So before they came from Sinjoh, they must have come from the Johto region, because Sinjoh is just north of Johto. That's how you get to Sinnoh from Johto. And similarly, we know there's been cross-collaboration between the peoples of Hisui and Johto, because the Salacium Ruin and the Ruins of Alpha were built, it seems, by the same people. Finally, to tie all of this in together, the Diamond Clan is blue, the Pearl Clan is pink, but Miss Cogita in the Ancient Retreat, it's all very green, which is the color of Celebi and the forest. But that is really as far as I've got. There's just not quite a story there, so I couldn't really turn it into anything. And then finally, number 5, it's not even a theory starter, but there are some references and Easter eggs. In fact, there's 3 of them, so this is technically 5, 6, 7, but they're all so small that I'm just gonna count them as 1 point. These are new Easter eggs, references, and cool things that appear in the Daybreak update that I haven't been able to put in a video anywhere else, so I just wanted to talk about them here. You remember I mentioned the shards earlier? There's an NPC that will offer you both of his hands with shards in, a red shard and a blue shard. This is a direct reference to the Matrix. And interesting, I did do a theory about Pokemon being in a simulation not that long ago, so maybe it's getting some credence there. Another little cool thing that I saw in the Daybreak update is that there's the handing over of power from Kamado to Silene, and Silene is going to go on to continue to pass the Galactic Building down to her descendants, which includes Cyrus. And then finally, there's a little bit of dialogue from Karen's ancestor talking about how she wants to paint a mural of everything that happened at Spear Pillar. And of course, that's the very mural that we'll see in the Hearthhome Church. But other than that, those are just 3 little cool Easter eggs references. Let's count those as 1 point. And there you have it. That is 5 Easter egg secrets, cool things, kind of non-theory starters that I'm stumped. But I hazard to guess that if you watch this channel, you probably like Pokemon theories, so if you have any ideas for how these can be adapted into larger stories, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with this. I'm going to be reading those comments. Don't forget, check me and Phoebe out on TikTok. My TikTok is linked in the description. We're having a lot of fun making those right now. Right now, we're doing that thing where you like generate a Pokemon and then you have to spend time guessing what the Pokemon is in a limited amount of questions. Anyway, join us over there for that. And of course, soar high, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
As always, a huge thank you to those of you supporting me on Patreon, including the big patrons of this month, Jedruben and Michael Hornschuch. Thank you so much.